Yeah, maybe tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? How did you get into this?
I own a small restaurant chain. Started it about 20 years ago. It's been successful, done well, and that's my day job. Um, was divorced about 5 years ago and had a long-term girlfriend relationship that ended about a year and a half ago. And so I had lots of extra time on my hands. So of course I watched TikTok, and that's when I met you. And so, I probably listened to you about 3 or 4 months before I even reached out. I just listened to your stuff with a counseling degree that I received about 4 years ago. I was able to see that you had a lot of the similar stuff that I learned, and I've been through counseling before, so I saw a lot of similarities. So I knew you weren't full of shit. So that was nice. But yeah, I met you on TikTok, and then I reached out, had a question, and we did our first meeting from then. I guess we've been together for about 6 months now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and tell me, what was the reason? What made you join the program? What was the situation beforehand, and then your dating relationship life, and then how did it develop?
So after my divorce, I got into a long-term girlfriend boyfriend relationship with a younger woman, and it ended badly. So my solution was to, instead of sitting around being depressed and woe is me, is I just went on a ton of dates. Probably had 60 in about 2 month span, um, and then it just got real empty. And one of the things that you would always talk about that differentiates you from what I saw in other TikTok guys were you weren't necessarily just trying to get me dates. You were trying to get me dates with the right person. And I think that was what I needed to hear, because if not, then I would just keep on going on these 1, 2, 3 dates with people. And, the sex was great, obviously, but was empty and there was just nothing there.
Mm.
So, and I think that's when I reached out to you. Was my biggest question, my biggest reasoning was, okay, I can get dates, I'm social, I can go out, I can do all this, but I am not having any luck in picking the right people. I'm just basing it on looks, and that's leaving it pretty empty.
Mm. And then how has it changed since?
Um, I think that the biggest thing that you brought to into my life is there's not a scarcity of women. There's lots of them, and it's just a matter of knowing what you want and really digging into that, knowing what I'm worth. That was a big thing. I have some money in my pocket, and so I think that I kind of equated my value to that. A lot of times, I mean, I can offer security, I could offer fun times, I can offer anything that money will buy, and so that felt pretty good. But you kind of brought me around to these are the things that you offer that have nothing to do with money, that have nothing to do with your social status or anything like that. And so that was a huge thing. And so all of a sudden I noticed I'm turning down dates. I'm turning down people that I'd meet online and saying, yeah, you don't talk enough. You don't, I mean, wouldn't tell them that, but you don't talk enough. You are, um, you don't have anything interesting to say. And I'm talking about the dates that I would go on. And so I just started turning down people, and all of a sudden my dating life went down, obviously, but the ones I had were much better than the ones that I previously had. And so, and now it's been probably 2 months, maybe a little bit longer. Met a girl. She is younger. She is beautiful. The sex is great. So I had all those components, but the biggest thing was we can go on a 6 hour date and still have fun, and the conversation is going, we laugh, we just enjoy each other's company. And so it's a lot more meaningful to me than just the she's good looking and it's great sex.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And did you have any concerns before when we had the first call? You said you were watching my stuff for 3 or 4 months. Did you have any concerns? I mean, you realized because of your degree in counseling that I'm not full of shit. So that's good to hear. But did you have any other concerns? Maybe.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I met you on TikTok. I mean, really? That's a huge concern. Two was, you're in Dublin. I will never, rarely meet you face to face, if ever. And so it's like, yeah, those were two big concerns. And so that's what I had to overcome. And, the price of it, I thought, you know what? Based upon the 2 or 3 months that I've been listening to him, based upon what he says, I think that this is worth the risk of the investment for me. And I was, I don't think I was surprised, but I was definitely, my expectations were met. I had fairly low expectations in a lot of ways, but they were definitely met.
What do you mean by low expectations?
Because I met you on TikTok and you're in Dublin or wherever you're at, Saudi Arabia
Dublin
or Dublin
thing,
or
like
Dubai.
Dublin might as well be Germany.
Yeah. So, and you pronounce your name David, not David. So those are all three big things that I was like, okay, how is this going to work?
Yeah, makes sense.
But it
and
did.
how did you feel? How did you feel it helped? Like, what were a couple of things about the program that helped you? Because like it might as well not have, because you don't know beforehand.
Okay. To be honest with you, the biggest thing that I think was the biggest advantage for me was you called me out on my shit. There's a couple of different situations where you're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I don't get called out on my shit from anybody. My ex-wife does a little bit because she's my business partner, but in this area, nobody calls me out on my shit. I can just stay in my own toxic thinking and my own depressive thinking if I want to. And, you'll call me out on my shit. The other thing that was really helpful, besides the conversations, besides the stuff on online, is, like the frank sex talk that we're able to have. And you did a seminar with, I think it was Jonathan, and that was really helpful. And it's just guys being able to ask questions about, I don't know who will see this, but about anal, about oral, about, things that everybody does in bed, but nobody talks about.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a cool thing, right? Because obviously on TikTok or other platforms, I'm only able to share the tip of the iceberg, right? For obvious reasons that we don't need to get into. But it's in the program like that, we're able to create an environment where you can share, where you have the people who have the expertise, myself, Jonathan, and then we're able to go into depth in that, because where the fuck else are you going to talk about that? Where else are you going to talk about these things? Where else are you going to learn about these things? It's like, yeah, I remember the odd situation where I had quite frank conversations with you. Right? I was like, and I think that's helpful. It's and sometimes it's a bit shocking, maybe at first, like, holy shit, did you actually just say that? But it's also like, look, especially you're in a position, given the success you've achieved, you don't get challenged on your point of views too often. I'd say, and that's great and it's cool because you earned it. But it's like also, as you're saying, you can then transfer the same meta habit of thinking I'm right all the time, right, into that area. It can be extraordinarily harmful, or at least not get you the results you want. Yeah. Okay. Who would you recommend the program for? Who would you not recommend it for?
Probably who I would not recommend it for is anybody that doesn't want to change, anybody that doesn't want to improve their dating life. I'm not saying that their dating life has to be shit, but it definitely is not what they want. So if I wanted to continue just to have one night stands and meet new women every week, I could do that. I think that if I wanted something just a little bit deeper, it may not be marriage, it may not be, I don't know how to define any of it yet, but I just wanted more out of those female relationships that I was getting. So I think anybody that's on that track wants it. Anybody who wants to be efficient with their time and get the most bang for their buck, I would say this is a program because, like I said, your ability to call me out or to dive right into what my issue is or what I'm dealing with, that saves me a ton of time. And and then for me personally, the things that I learned in my relationship with women through this program was also trans bled into my work life, my friend life. And so there's just a lot of things because I'm able to see the blind spots that I never was able to see. So anybody that's open-minded, that wants to change, that wants to say, look, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working for me, that's who this, in my opinion, that's who this program's for.
Awesome. That's cool. And let's say somebody's scrolling through TikTok now, or they see an ad somewhere, be it Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or especially TikTok, and they're a little bit concerned. So like, well, he's ginger. He pronounces his name David. He's from Dublin, and they're a little bit unsure as to whether I should go for it or not. Understanding coming from your point of view that you've gone through similar doubts, what would you say to them?
I would say it's worth the risk. You know, I'm a real person. I'm sitting here in Eastern New Mexico, so I have no personal way to sell for you or make any money for you. And I'm just relaying the fact that, yes, I met you on TikTok, and that is the weirdest thing to me in the world, but it worked. And that's all I can say. As I get the hesitation because of it's social media or it's TikTok or it's YouTube or whatever, but it just worked. And I mean, we've been together for 6 months, and I don't have any plans of our relationship changes, obviously, but even after, if the woman I'm dating right now is the one that I'm going to spend a number of years with, there are so many things in a relationship that I just don't have the education on, that I don't have the insight into myself. I mean, I'm dealing with something right now that gives me anxiety about it, and I can't wait till our Thursday meeting to kind of lay it out and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I get that it's not healthy, but walk me through it. Tell me what's going on in my head. Tell me what's going on in my emotions. And am I on track? Should I change something? Should I not change something? Or is it just me? Is it the relationship? I mean, there's so many questions that are there even after I think that I found somebody that I want to spend a longer amount of time with.
Okay, so awesome.
Don't let the TikTok platform persuade you not to reach out.
Okay, awesome, cool. No, that's really cool, man. Thank you. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, again, I've been highly impressed. My expectations were beaten almost by week 2. And for somebody that wants to get the most out of whatever time they spend on something, this was perfect for me.
Awesome.
And it's nice to know that I'm talking to somebody that has experience. You have experience in a long-term relationship. You have experience in just the dating, not necessarily player life, but the dating life. And so you've been through it, and I haven't. I was married for a long time and then had a long-term girlfriend. So dating was kind of new to me, and I had to learn. And what you've taught me was this is how you can go into it in a fun and healthy way.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.